Consider a simple scenario. You are going for a dine out in an unknown city. There is one restaurant and there is a long queue. On the other side, there is another restaurant, but that is empty. Which restaurant you are going to select? Most probably you will select the one which is having the queue. Why? That is what we call the social proof. Without knowing to you, your mind chose the one which is having the queue because that's provide the psychological safety net. Welcome to the Revenue Systems channel. I'm Dr. Kithsiri, Banking, Revenue and Leadership Systems Architect. Today we are going to analyze why most of the front office staff is missing big deals. And as managers, how can we eradicate this problem using a very powerful psychological tool, social proof. Most probably I have witnessed many of the branch managers, relationship managers and the wealth managers, they memorize all the technical stuff, all the features of their products, interest rates, and they start having the discussions with their prospects. 90% of the time they speak about the product features. 10% of the time they talk about the value to the customer. It's just like a technical monologue. Finally, the output of the customer is, let me think about it, but they will never return. Now, why does that happen? Basically, the front office staff and the sales staff think the people buy with logic or the logical data, but actually not. In complex decision making, just like purchasing financial solutions, clients look at what the other people do. They follow the crowd and they make the complex decisions based on that because it provides them the psychological safety. To understand this further, we have to look at the behavioral science. When your team pitches the features of an investment plan to a prospect or prospective client, the client has to demand a lot of cognitive load. It causes them decision fatigue. This is where we have to apply the insights of Dr. Robert Cialdini's work. He has written a fantastic book, Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion. I highly recommend your salespeople to read that book. Cialdini identified in his book a concept called social proof. That means as human beings, when we face complexity, when we make complex decisions, we look at what the other people are doing in our tribe. Because that social proof gives the psychological safety. So they make the correct decision. They can averse the risk by making that type of a decision. There is another research, Solomon Ark confirms that we ignore our own eyes, even the logical data, when the confirmation comes from a group. The fear of standing alone, the fear of making a wrong decision overrides our independent data. Normally the people don't buy the best product or service. They buy the most popular product or service. Think about the situation where you buy your mobile phone, your car, or any expensive product or service. Knowingly or unknowingly, you look at the social proof. Now assume a typical relationship manager offer 5 different investment plans to a client with complex product features. What happens? He gets into the decision fatigue. What the relationship manager would have done is show to the client, this is the product approved by same kind of people. This is the solution approved by same kind of professionals. Now, how we persuade your sales team to utilize this powerful psychological lever? They have to strip out their typical sales pitch, that means feature pitching. They have to carry with them clients like you script. We have to train them how to use this tool. I'll show you 2 scenarios for you to understand this toolkit. This is approach 1. Mr. Customer, I recommend plan B because it's having a compound interest structure and a low management fee and a specific tax exemption under clause 4.2. Now you know what? The client has to be an analyst to understand this financial solution. This approach B. Mr. Customer, considering your tax bracket, I strongly recommend plan B because just like you, the other professionals, doctors, engineers, they choose the plan B because you can take specific tax advantage out of that. And it has become the standard choice, the professionals like you in the industry. You know what I have done? I have highlighted the benefit, but at the same time, I have reduced its purchasing fear. Because when you sell complex product, high-end products, obvious the prospects are having the fear of failure. You have to reduce that. The only way you can reduce that is the social proof. Therefore, we removed making of a bad choice. Now, as C-suite leaders, you have to implement this within your branch network. How can you do that? I am proposing you 3 steps to you to do this. Now, review the materials of your wealth managers, branch managers, relationship managers, and find out how they pitch their product and services to the clients. If it is embedded with 90% product features and 10% benefits, you're having a problem. You have to mandate to include the social proof in their presentation. Now, don't let your managers to invent these comparisons. Pre-prepare them. Analyze the data and they have to provide anonymous data. For example, when they pitch into SME holders, they have to have the data. Likewise, when they pitch into doctors, engineers, other professionals, businessmen, they have to have separate data. Then they can pull it up and they can provide the proof data to the client without having an issue. On the next management meeting, have some role plays and the training about this. The most important part is you have to identify the persona. For example, when you present the data should be relevant to that group. For example, doctors, engineers, professionals, businessmen. You have to have a specific kind of data or the social proof information. Alright, reality is most of the salespeople, they like to sell complex product through the logics, interest rates, and a lot of data. But actually people don't buy logically. In a situation like this, you have to reduce the fear of making a mistake. Therefore, train your branch managers, relationship managers, and sales professionals to use social proof. If your sales team is still using outdated tactics and methods, we are willing to help you. In our total branch transformation system, we train your staff. We install rigid procedures for them to follow and to close deals effortlessly. Read the description below. If you need any support, please contact us. We'll see you soon.